So you leapt out into entrepreneurship as an expert and had a stellar first year. Good clients, really feeling like you can build this momentum. But then in year 2, it hasn't gone exactly as you thought. There's fewer clients around, and you're wondering, what happened in my first year? Was it beginner's luck? What's now happening with my pricing? What else is going on in my business? So in this video, we're going to talk about why the second year slump is so common for expertise-based businesses and what you can do about it. Let's dive in. When you first go out on your own, people are excited. They want to help you succeed, especially if you are serving a network you have already served in a prior career with them knowing your expertise. Your first clients often in that first year come from that personal network. They already know, like, and trust you. There's not a lot of selling or convincing that you need in order to have them bring you on if they've got a project they want to work with you on. You hear this often, quote unquote. When you first go out on your own, let us know, we'll hire you. So you get your first projects from your personal network or from immediate first degree connections with those people that already know you. Sounds great, you think. I can do this. And so you put your head down, get to work delivering good quality results for those first projects, just assuming that, again, that personal network will be there when you've completed these first batch of projects and you're ready for what's next, right? You think, of course, the referrals and projects will keep coming in. But what happens? The first year promise turns into the second year slump because you spent the rest of your first year heads down doing the work. Or maybe on the flip side, you spent time investing in some behind the scenes work, getting your branding, getting your logo, updating your website, refining your services, posting a lot on social media. But when you looked up after those first projects completed, looking for the next one, they weren't any to be found. Your network wasn't as interested in working together. Those referrals stopped coming in. You have fallen into the chasm. The chasm occurs when you've depleted your existing network of potential customers, yet haven't replenished that network with new people who have the time, the budget, the need, the urgency to work with you with the service you provide. Essentially, you've exhausted all the latent demand from your existing network. One, not all of your personal network needs your services. Or even if they are the right market, the right client type, they might not be qualified to work with you right now. They might not have the budget, the need, the authority, or the urgency to work on the specific problem that you have at the specific time at your specific price points. So the chasm looks like what you might have seen before with technology innovations in this concept introduced by Jeffrey Moore. First, we start with innovators. So these are, in the tech sphere, the enthusiasts, the early buyers that want to adopt a new technology. We move to the early adopters who are curious and interested. They're kind of already bought in. They just needed the innovators to test it out first. Then we have the chasm. This is where we have to go from early market to mainstream market. So we have pragmatists, the early majority, who again need to wait for all the bugs to be worked out before they're willing to hop in. You have the conservatives who are the late majority, and then you have the skeptics, the laggards, the people that may never ever adopt that tech platform. So this is the chasm as it relates to technology innovations. But this concept exists for your network and pool of potential customers as an expertise-based business. We start with those early clients, and they're going to come from our existing personal network and our personal connections. Depending on the type of business that you run and the longevity of your engagements, you might be able to have a thriving business for 2 to 3 years just based on your personal network and those direct connections. This is the early client stage. Essentially, in our first couple years, we deplete the client base out of the people that we know, our personal network and our personal connections. Again, not everyone is an active buyer. Not everyone is a qualified buyer to work with us right now. So we've depleted our potential clients out of the people we already know. But to continue growing your expertise business, we have to cross the chasm into a sustainable marketing system. We have to become known to people who don't already know us. We have to become known through referrals, through word of mouth. We have to become known through organic discovery, people seeing your work and sharing it, people seeing your work on social media, people hearing you on a podcast, that organic discovery for people who don't know you and are not potentially connected into your personal network. Eventually, there's always going to be a set of people who are not your people. But part of growing that expertise business in that second year and beyond is crossing this chasm and getting your work in front of people who aren't in your exact network and maybe don't know you quite as well, don't trust you quite as much, and don't have as much context for the expertise you provide and the results you get for your clients because they don't have that personal connection with you. So, how do we cross the chasm? We want to do two things. First, we want to expand and replenish the network that does know, like, and trust you by meeting new people and expanding your network, your personal network, and those personal connections. Essentially, we're growing the pre-chasm segment by investing in personal relationships. And second, you develop the skill of marketing and sales in order to effectively communicate your value and your expertise to people that don't already have some pre-existing knowledge of the work quality and work product and the results you get for your clients. So, two things: making the pre-chasm group bigger and effectively using marketing and sales to cross to people who don't already know you. So, what can you do to cross the chasm? There are 3 skills we're going to talk about here. The first skill is, again, that expanding the first 2 segments, that personal network and those personal connections. We're going to dedicate time for expanding your network through growing personal connections. Some ideas. 1, join communities. This is not to sell. This is to simply grow the number of people who know about you in general. Be genuinely helpful if you can. Set up one-to-one relationships with these individuals. You can join communities for other practitioners, joining communities based on interest. It doesn't have to be business related. Again, the more people that generally know about you, the more likely it is that they are going to know someone else that might be a good client for you, a center of influence for you. The second is potentially building referral partnerships. Who are the other service providers or the other creators or experts that are 1 or 2 steps removed from your clients? If you are a copywriter, they're probably working with a web designer. If you are a financial services provider, they're going to be working with a lawyer or a sales coach or a business coach. So again, we can partner with other experts who are also trying to get their name in front of other audiences, and again, build potentially those partnerships that can lead to referrals. And finally, you just kind of want to build relationships with people that can help you get visible on the scene. Again, this is not transactional in nature. This is very relationship oriented. But who are those influential players in your space? Who are experts a couple of years ahead of you? How can you truly make friends with people that can help you get in front of your ideal client? So again, we want to expand our network of people that know us. And this is likely not done just through posting on social media and expecting people to build relationships with you. This is usually done from an outbound effort to, I know networking is not a word that we like to hear around here because it brings up it's schemy and it's scammy and no one just wants to be shoved business cards in their face. But this is not the kind of networking I'm talking about. This is really about being interested in other people, building real relationships, building friendships with other providers and other practitioners, and using that to, again, grow the surface area of people who know about you. So that's step 1. Step 2 is crossing the chasm with messaging. So we want to deepen your expertise in how you talk about your work, usually through some kind of long form creative practice. So with people who already know you, there's a shorthand. They've already had some experience with your work. You're not having to quote unquote convince them to talk to you and listen to you because they know you, they know your work quality, or they're connected to someone who vouches for you. The minute we need to get in front of people who don't already know us, who don't already have some kind of that latent trust built up from working with you before or having that transferred trust from someone who vouches for you, this is when we have to get really specific. We can't just be generic of, I solved this problem. We have to be really specific, talking in our prospect's voice, having a point of view that invites curiosity and gets people to want to learn more. And that's usually done through long form creative practice, writing a newsletter, writing blog posts, filming this YouTube channel, having your own podcast. Again, that's not necessarily for discoverability, but it's in order to hone your message, start seeing patterns, and again, take your message from generic to very specific. So your ideal clients who don't already know you, when they see their work, they're like, yes, that's me. I lean in here. Part of this is honing your expertise because thinking through how you do what you do in a long form written down capacity hones your thinking. And also it helps you deepen your skill in communicating that value prop and the patterns that you see for your best fit clients. And the third skill is maintaining these relationships you're building and the discovery you're getting through the systems for sales, marketing, and pipeline development. We want to build regular habits to build your visibility and build your network. You want to have a way to touch base with potential clients and prospects, with referral partners, with your former clients on a regular basis. This is not when I need clients, I'm going to go do this. This is building repeatable systems and habits to say, I'm always being helpful to my referral partners. I'm always reaching back out to former clients and saying, it's time for a quarterly check-in about your progress. It's a regular system to reach out to potential clients who maybe they had the need, but they didn't have the time or the budget to say, is now maybe a time when you're more ready to get started. Having those systems in place of regularly tending to the seeds you're planting is the way to avoid coming out of a heavy project load and then not having anyone who's even primed to begin working with you or anyone that's primed to send people your way. You want to have those systems to keep track of potential clients, your referral partners, your potential visibility partners, anyone in your network that's helping be your advocate. How can you stay top of mind with them, not just telling them what you're up to, but also sending thank you, making helpful introductions for them, connecting them to visibility opportunities. Again, having systems to do this means that you're consistently replenishing both the early clients phase of your personal network and personal connections, but consistently building that visibility, that trust with the people on the other side of the chasm, where you need consistent messaging, consistent communication of the value you offer in order to build that know, like, trust factor and demonstrate your expertise. It can be very easy to drop into the chasm. You want to do good quality work for your clients. But if we're not consistently replenishing that network with people that we're getting to know, making that first pie bigger, and consistently communicating, honing our message, and building relationships and rapport to cross that chasm, we're going to end up depleting our network of people that can work with us and then trapped in that feast or famine cycle. The second year slump doesn't have to happen to you. Use these 3 principles to cross that chasm. Continue to expand your network so that you have more people pre-chasm. Sharpen your marketing and sales messaging in order to reach people that don't already have a personal relationship with you, and set up those repeatable systems to maintain those relationships and that visibility that you're building. You can do it.